Call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 3.0, roll call. Just let the record reflect that Director Peterson is not here. And 4.0, student rep, not here.
Not yet.
Oh, you do have something?
Not yet.
Oh, not yet.
That's my new, as long as we're on topic, this is my new Kathy.
Oh.
She's Justine. She's not here for the student report.
Okay.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, now student rep, nothing. Okay, 5.0, agenda additions and deletions.
Two, need to remove 11.6, appointment of paraprofessional. Reason being is we hired, or interviewed, and almost hired, in anticipation of needing. We did have a student that requires a paraprofessional leave this current week, so before we called her, we actually found out that we didn't need her, so we removed that. The other one is the resolution on your table that Bill will explain to us in a bit, and that would become 12.5. And just a side note to that, because the Clerk Peterson is not here, the chair would need to appoint a temporary clerk to do the roll call vote and sign the resolution.
Okay, we'll do that prior to the resolution. Okay. Item 6.0, visitor input. Anybody signed up?
Nope.
Nope. Item 7.0, approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Okay. Motion by Sather.
Second.
Second by Andrews. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Item 8.0, approve the treasurer's report for the second check writing in August.
For the month of August, check writing, we had disbursements of $397,916.57. And I so move to accept the treasurer's report.
Okay. Motion by Gentilini. Do we have a
Second.
second by Addy? Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Item 9.0, the consent agenda. Item A, or 9.0A is approve minutes of regular meeting of Monday, August 14th, 2017. B is approve lane change for Rebecca Diedrich. C is approve 2017-2018 fall coaching assignments. D is approve the 2017-2018 extracurricular assignments. And E is accept donation from EG Tennis Boosters.
You should ask if anyone wants anything pulled from the
Yeah,
agenda.
yeah,
And then
yeah. I added for this week, and for the foreseeable future, 10.0, which is items removed from the consent agenda. So if anyone wants anything pulled, we'll put it there. So if we don't have anything pulled, then call for a motion to accept it. Okay, motion by Addy,
I'll second.
second by Lotiger. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Okay, nothing got removed, so 10.0 is no longer there. 11.0 personnel. 11.1 approve the 1.0 FTE special ed and social studies teaching assignment of Tucker Keene.
Mr. Keene is a new teacher here to our district. He'll be in the high school here. Part of the day being special ed and the other part being the part-time social studies position that was opening. He will be on a variance for the special ed part. He does have a social studies license.
Motion to accept that?
I'll make a motion to approve the 1.0 FTE appointment for Tucker Keene.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by Sather, second by Gentilini. Any discussion?
Was there any applicants for, that had a sped licensure?
Not a one. We had 3 openings and we had 0 applicants.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. 11.2, approve paraprofessional appointment of Jessica Salo.
This is going to be a paraprofessional assignment for the high school. This is actually a replacement. We had a retirement earlier this spring, if you remember.
I'll make a motion to approve the paraprofessional appointment for Jessica Salo.
Okay. Motion by Saylor,
Second.
second by Andrews. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. 11.3, approve ECSE paraprofessional appointment of Cynthia Marolt.
ECSE, Early Childhood Special Education. This is in the 4-year-old program for special ed students in that area. The one that we had prior resigned a few weeks ago, if you remember, so this is a replacement as well.
Also move that we accept the early childhood special education paraprofessional of Cynthia Marlowe.
Motion by Gentilini,
I'll second.
second by Addy. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 11.4, approve the .2 FTE elementary teaching assignment of LaDonna Muster.
This is for the Nell Sheen to cover specialist time, elementary time. She was here last year in the same capacity. Doesn't have a music license. She is elementary ed certified though, so she does not need a variance. Anything over, you would need one for anything over .3. So this being under, she doesn't need a variance.
All right. I'll move to approve the assignment.
I'll second.
Second by Saylor. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 11.5, approve ECSE paraprofessional appointment of Jennifer Widmer.
Again, early childhood special ed, and this is going to be in the 3-year-old program. This individual, this is a replacement as well. This individual will cover numerous students in the ECSE program. You're not tied to just one. There's several that are basically in the room.
Take a motion for that.
I'll make a motion to approve the appointment of Jennifer Whitmer for the ECSE paraprofessional.
Second.
Motion by Saylor, second by Gentilini. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. 12.0, new business. 12.1, approve the 2017-2018 student handbooks.
Not a whole lot of change from last year. These are pretty cookie cutter from what we've had in the past. Certainly if you have any questions, both of our principals are on hand to answer them.
I have a couple of questions.
Go ahead.
The student access to the media center here in the high school, is that going to be any different this year than it was in the previous year? Because didn't they have to get a pass, and if nobody was in the media center, they weren't allowed to go into the media center?
The media center will only be staffed first and second hour with Mrs. Arrow. And then if a class wanted, if a student from a class wanted to go in there, the teacher would have to bring the whole class in there.
Just for the sake of the ones that haven't been here, we had previously an aide in the library, so it was open all day in that regard. That was one of the items that the previous board decided to reduce, the aide part of it. That left Mrs. Arrow by herself between here and the Franklin, so she splits her time between here and the Franklin, and there is no aide in the high school media center.
So how is that working out? Any complaints from teachers or students?
Well, I think it was adjustment for the teachers to get used to, not being able to send students down there and being at staff. But there's workarounds with technology and everything. If something needed to be printed, they could, in the office, there were a couple times during the school year last year where if a student needed something printed, they would just come down to the office and send it to Mrs. Von Wald or myself, and we would print it out for them. But after they all adjusted, it seemed to go fine. It was just doing something different. So they had to figure out how to overcome those obstacles.
And the other thing that I was curious about, the bullying policy things that are in the handbook, are all reports being documented? When a student is reporting bullying or a teacher sees bullying, is it all being documented, and where are those documents being kept?
I know at the high school office there are forms that the kids will fill out, so whether they see me or the counselor, they will fill out those forms, and then I have a file for those forms to keep them on file until they graduate, and then I would probably shred them, but they do stay on file. And sometimes there's through our Power School, if teachers would see it, they would document it on the Power School, which would then notify me electronically.
Okay.
That's essentially what we're going to be doing at the Gilbert campus, but we'll do almost everything via the Power School discipline plug-in that we have. So teachers will be able to make a report if they see something. Student comes in and makes a report, it can be documented in there as well.
It's not always been that way though, has it? Where the teachers can document behavioral
No.
or
Just started
bullying
last
things?
year.
Started that last year.
In the middle of the year.
Okay, so are teachers pretty well educated on how to be able to do that?
I had teachers fill them out last year for tardies, attendance, etc. And we'll be going over the discipline reporting again of how to do it on Power School at our in-service on Tuesday.
Yeah, when we first, it's probably December when we first started, we did go through some training with everybody and left the option open to still do the paper one for that year, but now at the start of this year, it's on all the electronic.
And then it says reports can be filed with the school district human rights officer or the superintendent. That's one and the same, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Bigger districts, that's two different people.
But kids or teachers can report that to any staff member in the building, and a document will be written about that, correct?
Yeah.
That's it for that, the
Questions
questions
on
I
it?
had on 12.1. I have
Okay.
another on 12.2, but.
Okay, let's get a motion to approve the student handbooks.
I will make the motion to approve the student handbooks for the 2017-2018 school year.
Motion by Lotiger,
I'll second.
second by Andrews. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. 12.2, approve the 2017-2018 employee handbooks.
All right, so we have two versions in front of you. This is going to be a working document throughout the year. This is something that the district has not had in the past. We've had a general teacher guideline. We've never had an employee handbook. So we looked at some other employee handbooks from around the area and put something together. The first one, the employee handbook itself, meant for everybody. The second one, the teacher handbook, is basically the same, but it has the teacher stuff added onto the bottom of it. Basically, the idea was to alleviate some of the questions that some people may have that they don't know who to ask or whatnot. We have a lot of new employees, so this gives them a guide of where to go with some of their questions if they need them. Provide some direction on conduct and things like that. So like I said, I mean, I'm sure that we'll be making improvements to this as the year goes, but this is kind of our opening salvo of what we'd like to see.
It's a decent start.
You know,
I had a couple of things.
Yeah.
The child abuse and neglect reporting, I know last year you had a social worker or someone from the county come in to educate staff. Is that gonna be an ongoing thing for updates or just to educate the new staff that are coming in?
Yeah, we did not get one for this year at tomorrow's in-service. But it will be something that is mentioned. We talked about that today in all of our, because we'll be meeting with our staffs. And it is, we will be going through this handbook with all of them, so it'll be something that's mentioned. We do actually have some more information that we'll pass out too. There's a basic guideline sheet and as well as a reporting sheet as well that folks will get.
Okay. And then the other thing, the miscellaneous job responsibilities, were all of our new employees given a job description or a list of their responsibilities?
No, because we're still working on, we really need to update those. They're not current.
Is it possible to put a deadline on that, on when we can have those done? Because I know that it's been talked about for about 1.5 years,
Yeah.
2 years.
Yeah, we have definitely, it was on our summer list and summer came and went.
I just think it's really important, especially for those new employees, you know, if you don't know what your job responsibilities are, how are you to be evaluated even?
Yeah, no, we agree. And in fact, the other day when we met to go through our summer list, I told them that that's kind of next on our list here. We got to hammer that out. So,
Would there be a time frame on
I
that?
don't know, because it's all of them. I mean, our entire book is very dated. We've done a few of them as people have been
As new
hired.
employees have been hired, yeah.
And it's just one person in that position. We have changed a few of those, but I mean, the bulk of them are very old, like 80s old.
Can you give
So
us a
it's-
timeframe that
I don't know.
possibly this could be updated?
Is it within the next quarter?
Oh, yeah.
Is that
We'll be done in
realistic?
the next
Yeah.
quarter.
So within 3 months?
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah, and we will bring them to the board for final approval.
okay.
So we'll set a date then, that it'll be done
Within the
Within
next 3
3
months.
within the next 3 months? Okay.
Thank you.
That's all. I'll move to approve the employee handbooks as presented.
And I will second.
Okay, second by auditor. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 12.3, approve the first reading of policies.
These are our 600 series that hasn't been updated for a while either. 601, the school district curriculum and instructional goals, relates to the world's best workforce plan. Curriculum development is also in that area, world's best workforce. 611, there was some changes to the homeschooling policy. We currently have that one, but very slight changes. Basically, there's that one line in there. I'm gonna pull it up.
Jeff, did you say what slight changes were made in 611? Is that what you were?
I'm gonna pull it up
Okay.
here.
Yeah.
The tech boys are working on the system right now. Things are moving a little slow. So under the immunization, it just, I used to say a parent of a homeschooled child can submit statements, now it adds guardian to that. And also, where they can send it in the first year of homeschooling in Minnesota in the grade 7 year. So all the changes to the policy that we currently have are just in part 4, that immunization. 612, development of parental involvement policies. This is related to Title I. We currently don't have this policy. And basically it just, a general statement for it would be it makes us create a plan for parental involvement in Title I. And we haven't done a very good job of that, so this policy will put in place that we have to do that every year, 4 times a year. 613, graduation requirements. This is a change. Lots of semantics, dates, district, used to be called the test administrator under Part 4, now it's the district assessment coordinator, so there's some of that. But toward the bottom, in Part D, it used to say students enrolled in grade 8 through the 2011-2000 school year who have not yet demonstrated proficiency on the Minnesota Comprehensive Assessment (MCA) grad or the basic skills testing requirements prior to high school graduating may satisfy high school graduation requirements for the assessment in reading, math, and writing by taking. So there were some variables as to how they could meet those standards before, and the state just crossed all of that out now. Also, there are some different requirements in far as standards. You can see in Part 6 there, you need 4 credits of language art, 3 credits of math, including Algebra 2, so they have to, within those 3 credits, they have to go all the way to Algebra 2. And these are things that we have been doing. The district just hadn't set that policy. Students in the graduating class 2015 must complete an Algebra 1 credit by the end of 8th grade. Again, we have been doing this for whatever reason, just didn't update this policy. The science, earth science and space science, chemistry, or physics academic standards are combined. Computer science credit may fulfill a mathematics credit. And Project Lead the Way, which we currently don't do. Most school districts don't. With very large ones that do that. So this is one that should have been looked at a long time ago. But we have been following it. And then in 616, school district accountability, system accountability. This is also related to World's Best Workforce Plan that has to be written every year. Used to be profiles of learning. We took that out. We used to have a report called I don't remember what the report called, but this basically, it puts the world's best workforce, takes place of a lot of the reports, like we used to have a staff development report, what was the other one, Andrew? We had that systems accountability report. So it's all combined into the world's best workforce now, which is due in December. And this is just a first reading of these policies that take place for our 600 series. We can review them again before the second reading if anyone has any questions.
Policies, so I'll just move to approve them as the first reading anyways.
I will second.
Any discussion on those? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 12.4, set closed session discussion negotiation strategies. So I'll move that we hold the closed session right after the administrative report.
Second.
Second, Sather. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 12.5. sure what to call this one.
We'll invite Bill to come up and explain what he's doing here again.
Oh, what I've done. Your Lord Worship, Mr. Chairman, honorable members of the board. We had to pull the trigger on the refinancing a little bit sooner than what I had anticipated. It turned out that our president chose to do war with the Federal Reserve Bank. And the Federal Reserve Bank chose to do war back with the president. The reaction is the interest rates that we would pay rose. Interest rates that we would generate revenue from U.S. Treasuries went down, all of which we saw immediately. I then authorized getting it done. What it did was we went from $58,000 down to about $56,000 down. But that's a good solid savings. However, before I go too much further, the resolution that you see in front of you, the big fat one, was prepared by Tom Deans. Tom Deans is a lawyer in Minneapolis. He represents the Minnesota School Boards Association and has drafted the manual for operation of school boards for many years. We knew, or I heard this afternoon that our clerk would not be here tonight. And on many of the documents, including the resolution, the clerk has to sign the front page, certificate, and many other documents. Therefore, he suggested that the board, by motion, appoint an acting clerk to replace Michael, so long as Michael's absent. And then what would happen is his name would be inserted in all the documents. His name would appear on the bonds, and then it would just go back to Michael again. So, Mr. Chair, I think a simple motion by a board member to appoint someone, the acting clerk, it cannot be the chair and it cannot be the treasurer. We're getting down now to just a couple people. I think we have 3 or 2. A volunteer, I think, would be helpful.
Yeah. Call for someone to volunteer to be the acting clerk for the night.
I just have to sign if I volunteer.
And
Take roll call.
decide that you take the roll call vote on the
Of the yes or
resolution.
no for each.
You just go down everybody's name. And would you like to volunteer?
Well, I will.
I'll volunteer.
Thank you, Brian.
Okay, so for the motion, I'll move.
I will second.
Okay. So tonight's acting clerk will be Randy Lodiger. Let's see, any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay. There's 2 ways to look at this refunding. It's really hard when our president takes on the Federal Reserve and we don't have a way to deal with the thing. But we chose in the offering to have no less savings than $50,000. And if you look at this document right here, I highlighted on the front page of that the pages that are material. And the first page's material is page 2. And on the right side of page 2, there's a little column in green. And what it shows that the savings are $56,852. What that savings represent is the amount of money that you can reduce the tax levy by. And the first tax levy reduction will be the very top number, at $1,382. That will be the levy that you will make this coming fall, less that amount of money. So you'll see some benefit immediately. One question you may ask in the resolution we had prior to this one was we needed to save a 3% present value number The very bottom number in green is 3.961. So we've exceeded the statutory 3%, so 3.961. So we did that. What was the interest rate on these bonds? Turn the page to page 3. It's 2.70 for each maturity. And so that makes the total annual 2.70. Then if you just keep on going, because wouldn't you like to know how much we're paying now? Go to page 8. And that's the interest rates that we're paying now, 4.75, 4.75, 4.95, 5.1, 5.2, 5.3, and 5.4. Down underneath that in green, they aggregate to 5.22%. And actually, that only counts to 4.9. So if you add the two upper ones, it's pretty close to 5.4%. So we're replacing a 5.4 obligation with a 2.7. It's not a bad deal. If you turn the page 9, this is where the so-called nasty stuff begins. This is an indication of what happens when people aren't thinking when they open their mouth. We have the obligation to invest our money, these bond proceeds, for about a year and a half. And you'll see right up above, you'll see the money going in, and down in the yellow, in the very bottom, you'll see a minus $29,000. When the interest rate we had to pay rose, and when the treasury rates went down, we lost that much money. And you can see below, we could have received 2.7, but we could only get 1.08. Now, we were always going to lose about 15 to 18,000, but in 3 days, it dropped that much. One might suggest that why didn't you just plain wait? Because all indicators are that the rate we pay is going to rise and the treasuries are going to stay stagnant. And it's, even today, it's worse than this. So I hope you can understand that I took some of them of your so-called profit or savings out of our fee just to make sure that you had close to the 58,000 level. I took the broker's fee out of our fee, so I wanted to make very sure that the district got everything it paid for. That didn't leave much for me, but then, you know, life is life. So when we approve this resolution, we're approving all the interest rates that are included in this document, and a contract between a bank and Roseau, who bought the bonds, and so and he bought all of the bonds. So we saved a lot of money by having a single buyer, single broker, and not a lot of nonsense. We didn't go to the Standard & Poor's to get a credit rating, and that saved like $3,500. And so by all these little bit of efficiencies, you can actually save some money when you're trying to do these transactions. So let me read the title of the resolution, and it kind of tells what it's about. It's the resolution ratifying the award of the sale, that's to the bank in Roseau, determining the form and details, and that's just the way the bonds look, form and details, authorizing the execution and delivery and registration. Execution and delivery means we execute the bonds. The signatures are not manual. You'll be signing your name away, and we'll put the chair's name, and we'll have it printed on the bonds, as well as the clerk's name printed on the bonds. Next, the execution of the bonds. registration. The bonds will be registered bonds that will assure the bank that he will receive the money promptly on time. And providing for the payment of taxable general obligation bonds. Taxable rate because they're for OPEB. General obligation means a full pledge of taxing power. You absolutely have to do it. And they're crossover refunding bonds, the type of bonds that aren't due right away. That's that year and a half I was speaking of. And they're titled 2017A. Now, is there something that I have either said or not said that you would like to ask me? Oh, somebody's got to have something.
These interest rates are about as low as they're gonna get.
Exactly. Well, the problem in the case of refundings is as soon as the Treasury started to fall, it made a rising interest rate really bad. The argument with the Federal Reserve is a mean one because the president has in his cabinet a person he wants to appoint as the new head of the Federal Reserve. The new Federal Reserve, the old Federal Reserve chairman, she understands that. But she says he doesn't know what he's talking about, and so on goes a war. But in the money market, that means a different thing to different people. In the case of the rate we pay, rates go up. And it's nuts because in Minnesota, we're down 40% in the amount of bonds that have been sold in Minnesota. It doesn't make sense, but yet these are almost fungible rates, so they apply nationwide. Treasuries are nationwide, and they're just dropping. But they don't have to drop much. That's really our dilemma. Because we're dealing in short-term rates, when rates drop, the shorter the term, the more dramatic it is on us. And that's why the impact is the way it is. Mike, you're so quiet.
Yep.
So bringing it, even if the interest rate dropped even more, at what percentage would it be wise to refinance this again? I don't.
In this case, in order to get the bonds sold, we didn't put in a redemption feature. There's only 6 maturities left. You sometimes will cause a premium, in other words, a higher price. And we tried 2 or 3 times, and we ended up looking at premiums, and that wasn't really a good idea. In other words, it would reduce our savings.
Bonds will be paid off in 2033 then, correct?
Yes, exactly, yeah. This issue will be gone. Yeah, you will then, if this were the only one, you would not have any more debt.
Okay. Guess we can call for a motion on accepting that resolution.
I will make a motion.
Okay. Motion by Sather,
A second.
second by Addie. All right, now we need a roll call vote.
Okay. Correct me if I do it wrong.
We're on the table.
Yeah.
Right, roll call. Treasurer Gentilini.
Yes.
Vice Chair Addy.
Yes.
Director Sather.
Yes.
Board Chair Chad.
Yes.
Interim Board Member Andrews.
Yes.
And myself, the yes.
Perfect.
Job well done.
Yep, did a good job.
Good job.
All right.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you, members of the
you.
board.
Thank you.
All right. Now, 13.0 administrative report.
All right, last one for the kids. Enrollment, as of right this moment, we're at 944. A little bit on that number. We graduated 82. 82, and we brought in 52 kindergartners, so that's a change of 30 in itself. We have 51 new registers this year already, as opposed to 38 that moved away. And most of those 38 literally moved away. They don't live here anymore. We did have a few open enroll with other districts, so that brings us to a total of 944. That number will change, I would imagine, in the next week before the kids come. Lots of last minute stuff, so see where it goes, but that's where we're at right now. Couple just reminders, so tomorrow we start, teachers are coming back tomorrow. We do a lot of our mandatory trainings in the morning. We're going to be going through all the tech upgrades. If the boys next door get everything going, no, it'll be fine. We also do the beginning of the year staff meetings and whatnot. It's basically an organizational day. On Wednesday then we go to the region-wide professional development summit over in Virginia. August 31st is a work in the room day, get ready for open house. At 3:30 the Franklin open house starts and goes to 5:30. That one is a little bit shorter because we also in the Franklin we also do classroom meetings that after a couple weeks of school. We invite parents to come in and meet with a specific teacher. Gilbert campus starts at 3. Senior high is from 2:30 to 5:30. First day kids are here is Tuesday, September 5th, and on September 6th. I know the high school is. You want to explain what the high school is doing on the 5th a little bit?
Yeah, on the 5th, our leadership team, which consists of a few of our teachers, we've been planning, last year we've been planning for this first day, welcoming back the students, so, and having a barbecue. So we're going to be having some activities. The National Guard is bringing in their obstacle course and the knocker balls, which is where you play soccer with them and you're in that bubble. And then we're going to have like yard Yahtzee and beanbag and activities out in the football field, and then having a barbecue for the kids. And we're also having our activity fair at the same time for the morning and up to 5th hour, and then they'll go to 6th and 7th hour. So something new we're trying. I'm a little nervous about it, but we're going to see how it goes.
They'll love
Sounds
it.
good.
Yeah.
Sounds really good. I might have to show up for this barbecue.
Yeah, if any of you
I'll
want
be
to
there
come
for
and help
knocker
serve at the barbecue,
Well, they
we are
were looking to
looking.
come serve.
Serve the food for at the
They were looking to
barbecue, we're
come
looking.
Oh, what time will you be needing that?
11:45 to 12:45.
Okay.
First day of school is always off in my household, so.
Yeah, so if you want to come and help out
11:45
the
to
staff
12:45.
serve the students, that would be great.
You want to talk a little bit about Reggie?
Yeah, we are having, in the district on the second day of school, so that'll be Wednesday the 6th, we're having a guest speaker come in at the Gilbert campus. I believe is at 8:20. I'm pulling these off the top of my head. He'll be speaking to the entire Gilbert campus in the auditorium at that time. He's a very motivational speaker, very positive. He speaks to over 1 million students every school year for the last probably 20 years. He brings his saxophone and he has a little talk, and he really motivates kids and keeps it positive. Once he's done in Gilbert, he's going to travel over here. He'll set up in the auditorium. He'll perform for the Franklin at 10:30.
10 or 10:30.
10 or 10:30, and then he'll perform for the high school around 11:50. So thank you for that. And then in the evening, he has the evening performance here. That's at 7 p.m. The whole community is invited. There's flyers that have been going out and information. But Reggie Dobbs, great guy. Met him about 8 years ago, and saw him again about 6 years ago, and now we're having him here. So very exciting.
I want to update the board a little bit on early childhood. We don't talk about that probably enough. Early childhood, we, as you may or may not understand, we have several programs. We have a 3-year-old program that consists of 2 full days. We do not transport those kids, parents are, but it is a full day. But we don't let them on the bus. Then we also have a 4- and 5-year-old program that is 5 days a week, and we do transport those kids. Within those structures, we also have some options. We do half days. Of course, you have to come pick up your student either in the morning or in the afternoon. We do every other day. Kind of tailor it to suit parents' needs. But according to state standards, we're only allowed to have 20 kids in each of those classes, and we are currently full. Last year we had 38 kids total, thus the small kindergarten class. We're at 40 now, and it starts on September 18th, so I'm anticipating we probably will have some more sign up because we generally have quite a few that are come in the last few weeks. So probably by the next board meeting, board's going to have to decide if they want to close it and not offer anymore, or if we're going to hire that third teacher. We did have a third teacher 2 years ago. We only had 2 last year, so we only had 38. So we'll have to decide that as we're still taking names. We haven't closed anything, but we'll have to decide if those numbers go up by the time we meet the next time. One other miscellaneous thing. So we had talked last time about the possibility of an athletic trainer for our events here, and I know that Director Sather had actually contacted me about an individual at St. Luke's, and that individual had actually contacted Kyle already, our athletic director. So we do have a meeting set up. Sounds pretty positive this Thursday, a couple days from now, with several of them from St. Luke's. So it looks real positive that we may get that service. A couple things that we need to schedule. We have to schedule an athletic committee meeting to talk about the Moore Stadium. And just a reminder that we have set the next collaboration meeting for the 25th, and we'll bump our regular meeting up to 5 that night. So anyway, if you guys could dig out the calendars. First week of school is kind of crazy, so looking at the week of the 11th, we have a board meeting on the 11th, regular board meeting. So I don't know if you want to meet before that in committee, or if you want to do it on a different day.
Do you know what's on the agenda for the athletic meeting?
We'll talk about Moore Stadium.
I mean, and just that's it? Just, is there any detail with that?
Typically the sodding of the end zones.
Could 5 o'clock?
Huh?
Would that give us enough time, 5 o'clock on the 11th?
I'm fine.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm okay with that.
I'm good.
And then regular board meeting at 6.
All right.
And we can all be there, correct?
Huh?
All of us?
You
For
can,
the
yeah.
athletic?
Yep.
Yep. All right, there we go. That's all I have, Mr. Chair. We can recess and
Yeah, we'll take a short recess and come back into closed session.